Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we are looking at Exceptional X-Men issue 12. Apologies for the wobbling and not having my camera right. So anyway, Reggie here apparently opens portals. I didn't know this at the end of last issue. I presumed it was Saint Chaos, but it's his mutant power, and that is what he's been trying to get up the courage to share. So this is written by Ewing. Federica Manchin is on the art. Colors artist Nolan Woodard, and VC's Travis Lanham on the letters. And here is your cast on the side. So our story begins with Bobby covering for Kitty PRYDE by doing a training session with ice slides, etc. However, the kids have to clean up all the water because, let's be honest, ice slides in, they're going to melt, and, well, and he doesn't seem to be able to move molecules of water. I'm surprised at that, because isn't that what he does? He absorbs water to create the ice. So that seems a bit odd. Anyway, either that or he's just getting him to mop up. One or the other. Anyway, where does he keep his phone as well? He's in ice and he's got a phone. You know, they could have at least shown him picking up on the side. So he tries to reach out to Nina because, well, he's lost his umbrella. He's left it in Kitty's car. Yeah, it's sort of comical, that sort of statement. Anyway, they're a bit worried about her because has she run off forever, or has she just walked off in frustration? Meanwhile, the iconic Iron Heart has arrived. Now, I'm not being funny. All right, maybe I'm being a bit of an ass here, but if you have to say something's iconic, is it iconic? Are they iconic? But then I think, well, we used to call Spider-Man the Amazing Spider-Man, the Uncanny X-Men. You're right, I'm being a bit of a... Anyhow, but I've never read anything to Ironheart. Let me know if you have. Let me know if it's any good. Let me know what, you know, that sort of jazz, because I know nothing about her. Anyway, she's brought... I almost said veggie again. She brought us too early for this. I haven't had enough coffee, clearly. She's brought in Reggie, and he's a mutant and she shares it, and he shares that information. They already know. I didn't know. I forgot about this clearly when it happened. I generally don't remember it. And he says that he can open swells or portals, and his arm starts to do weird stuff as well. These things have started to come up. So Emma Frost is requesting to read his mind because she's no longer evil and no longer just reads minds just like that. However, I'm sure if one of her friends were in danger, I feel like she would just do it regardless. And he's called Reginald, by the way, and Reggie for short, because she was going to call him Reginald anyway, just because that's such an Emma thing to do. So he can create space-time portals, and his blackouts are minor bursts of time travel. So and Kitty PRYDE is somewhere in the past. Now, this bit irritated me because very convenient plot convenience. Emma Frost says to Robert, no, we can't go back because we are pivotal in the trajectory of young Catherine's life. Emma Frost, I agree with that, because she was the first evil that Kitty came across, and there were numerous times with the school and the New Mutants where Kitty PRYDE and Emma Frost clashed when she was younger, and that steered Kitty PRYDE to be the good, and we see that sort of come full circle in Astonishing X-Men between the two. That's why she brings Kitty in, to keep an eye on her, make sure she's not going to the dark side, so to speak. However, Bobby's interactions with young Kitty PRYDE are literally non-existent, because he was with, what, the Defenders, I think, at the time, or the Champions, can't remember. Was he with the Champions? I can't remember. Definitely the Defenders, and then X Factor. So Bobby's first sort of interactions wouldn't have even happened in the early 90s, because Kitty PRYDE was then with Excalibur, and he was with he with the Gold Team? with the 90s where Professor created the gold and the blue team. So interactions probably didn't actually happen, apart from events, maybe get-togethers. You know, maybe a certain wedding of Cyclops and Jean Grey. I can't even remember that. But the interactions would have been limited. So that's just a plot, a convenient plot twist that has been put in there. And I'm a little bit disappointed because Eve generally does tell good stories, and she generally knows these characters. That's why she's picked these characters. And then she's created some new characters that she can play with, who I actually like. So they're going off. Ironheart is doing her old iconic speech when Trista just pops off to the thrift store, and this is amazing. Look what she's got. She's got some good old 80s clobber. And, well, she didn't think to get some for Ironheart because they're going and Ironheart isn't. So, Emma Frost is going to coach young Reggie to open a portal. And he does that quite nicely. And they all go through nice and easy. And they've got a little bleeper. They're meant to be able to sort of communicate with the future so they can get back. However, very conveniently, once again, these Sentinels pop out of nowhere. They can apparently sense the energy. Once again, it feels very convenient. You know, they could have been sank earlier in the issue where, I don't even know who's in charge of these little Sentinel mutts, but they could have been sank earlier in the issue where they're trying to track do you know what I mean? And it's just convenience. And it's convenient because, of course, they're going to defeat all but one that manages to nip through the portal, because that's going to be in that final issue that we're gonna make sure we read tomorrow and not delay, because we've delayed these far too long, which I do apologize. I'll be surprised if anyone's actually watching it, but it's cool. They're in the backyard. They realize that Key Pride was clearly quite a wealthy kid. I mean, her father owned a bank, and you know, he did quite well, but obviously it went wrong. And they say she made some questionable career choices, but she didn't. Her father did. And then, well, actually, she didn't really do much with her career. She went to university. She's very qualified. Probably could do anything, but she doesn't actually use it because she's too busy being an ex-woman. So they're not getting anything off Emma Frost. There is no, remember, this is a time when there's no internet, so you can't just go and find people on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you do now, Snappy Chat. It is literally, I don't even know what Snappy Chat is. My kids are on it. I have no idea. I'm clearly too old for that. I'm on the old people's social media, which is Facebook. What's a phone book? One of them says. And anyway, guess what? They just randomly land where she would be at this time of her age, which was dance school. If any of you happen to have the time, it's just such a jazzy thing to do. Who's got a watch here? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So even though I had a bit of gripe about certain characterisms which suited the plots, I do love this. They could have easily just said, Emma could have said, I can't go back because of this. But you need to let the kids go because this is about them growing or something like that. We need to be here to help them get back. I don't know. They could have been something else. So we got the final issue coming up, issue 13. I really enjoyed that. And actually, now that I'm reading this without interference from events, I'm generally perhaps a bit sad that this is coming to an end. But all things must come to an end. And unfortunately, this is one that has been cut off. And I have no idea where he's going next, but I certainly feel like I would be interested in reading other comics she writes. I hope she's picked up something else somewhere else. That's usually what it is. They picked up something else. Anyway, if you like my video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody subscribed already. Make sure you look after yourself. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.